Boom! We're coming in hot today with a dear friend of mine, one of my favorite guys I've ever worked with, ever been part in TV. Emmy award-winning host of MLB Now, one of the best shows on TV. Really has revolutionized the way that we kind of look at baseball. I think we tune into his show, and we have for years, to look at baseball through a different lens. And I think it's really changed the trajectory of guys that look at the game a little differently. I think the front offices are too. So let's bring in my dear friend, Brian Kenny. BK, thanks for joining me, man, in the mayor's office.
Case, kind words. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And always a pleasure working with you. Thrilled to work.
You're the best, man. It is true, BK. When I read your book, now it was called Ahead of the Curve.
Head of the curve, yeah.
Head of the curve, boom. It came out of my back years ago. I think 2016, 2017. I was on the beach reading it. I was like, man, BK might be onto something here. And a lot of the stuff you were talking about was bullpenning and some of the stuff that's really part of the game now. I actually think when you were writing about that stuff, it was kind of a new concept. And now, even looking at the playoffs now in 2025, and even going back a few years, people are talking about bullpens, knowing that this is going to be the key to getting a championship. Do you see that, BK? When you see the teams right now in 2025, especially in this wild card round, do you feel like the bullpens are now one of the biggest parts of postseason baseball?
Yeah, no, it was happening, and it's funny. A lot of these concepts I had years and years before, and I thought, all right. I mean, when Moneyball was written, like I was talking about these things, and I thought, all right, now they wrote the book on it. And then, like 5 years later, they came out with the movie, and I'm like, all right, I missed that boat too, because I've been saying this. I was on, not like I wasn't on anything. I was on Baseball Tonight on ESPN when you were playing, and I was like, these things are happening. There was a whole sabermetric revolution that the industry wasn't paying attention to. And then even when I got to MLB Network, not everybody was on board. And a lot of things that I wrote in the book, Case, were seen as, revolutionary or insanity at the time in 2016. There were a few things like, hey, there's no more starting pitcher. There's outs to acquire. That doesn't mean a guy might not pitch 6. If you can get some freak of nature to pitch 9, go ahead. And if somebody can do it. But otherwise, you run faster sprinting than jogging. So why, everything was based off. Actually, most of the book was everything we were doing in baseball was based off the 19th century model. Just batting average, pitcher wins, errors, all these things that we did to compute in the game made sense in 1895. Like batting average was important. Pitcher wins were important. You know what I mean? But like now, like by 2015, it was like, no. So why do we even have a starting pitcher? Why do we even have that concept? It made no sense. And the other thing I threw in that like really, I think either changed the game or really just previewed what was to come was I wrote, I think in one of the chapters, my lead sentence was, if I'm running a team, I'd have a rule, no $100 million contracts.
Wow.
At least not for an outside player. For my player, extension, like I have Derek Jeter and he's 24. I have Albert Pujols and he's 25. Do I want to extend these guys for big money? Yes, that's my guy. Draft, develop, extend. But for outside guys, I wouldn't do it. Now, $100 million was a big deal now. I'd have to update it to $200 million.
Right.
Because I probably would have a couple of $150 million guys. That's not real money anymore.
Deal.
But now it'd be $200 million. But it was seen as, are you insane? Like, you must buy these guys. And I'm like, no, don't. And we saw in a couple of winters, people were thinking, oh, this is collusion. These are the owners being cheap. And I'm like, no, this is proper thinking. I'm not paying for a guy in his 30s, paying for his 20s and getting his 30s.
Yeah, no, which makes total sense. When you see some of the deals that are happening now, BK, with the Soto deal, like what do you think? What do you think of deals like that?
No. I want no part of it. I'm glad I can say this now because it's unpopular. Because usually now, in a few years, it'll be like, well, of course he was right, and I'm saying it now. The Ohtani deal, no, thank you. Now he's big box office. He's a one of a kind. And well, maybe I would because it's $2 million. It's costing the Dodgers $2 million now, 46 kind of on the aggregate, but he's not getting his full $70 million a year. But $70 million a year, I'm not doing it. $52 million a year, I'm not doing it. 12 years, 15 years, no. 10 years, 12 years, no. I'm not doing it. I'm not saying I want to play like Cleveland Guardians all the time and be 25th in payroll, but I would figure out a way of not spending that money and not going for these Soto 15 years, not touching it, Case.
Right. But so what I'm saying though is also too, like, So what about a guy like Aaron Judge, who's 30 years old and he wants the 9-year deal? What about Manny Machado, who's 26 and wants 330, and Bryce Harper, who's 13 years for 330? Are you not touching those guys? Because then how are you getting super young superstars?
All right, one, Aaron Judge is my own guy. If I'm the Yankees, psychologically, I'm saying in the real world, psychologically, if you get burned or you spend more than you should have on your own player, psychologically, it's easier to deal with. Right now, the Aaron Judge deal is already a win.
Yeah.
Because he's gotten better. That's a win. 9 years. Now you look too. Is it 9 years, 360? What a bargain. 360. Like now, 360, that seems like that's chump change. Now, Vlad gets 500. Ohtani, 700. Soto, 765. I don't know, 360, 340 sounds reasonable now. So already, but if that's your own guy, again, extending your own guy, even if, let's say it's Pete Alonso, and the Mets overspend to extend Pete Alonso, you got his 20s on the cheap. That's your own guy. So if his 30s aren't as good, psychologically, it's easier to deal with. Now, buying a guy from the outside, Machado and Harper were only different in that they began their free agent year, age 26 season. Those guys have been hits. I'm admitting that I don't like 10-year deals, 13-year deals, but at least with Harper, 13 years keeps that AAV way down.
Right.
But the main thing is age 26 season, because those guys started age 19, starting in the majors. Okay, I would be willing to do that for either a Harper type, Machado, who's a defender, or a shortstop. I make exceptions, but generally, first baseman, slugging, age 31, I'm like, nope, unless he's my own guy.
Right. All right, I love it. I don't necessarily agree with you on Ohtani, and here's the reason why, because I want to get into the Dodgers next. But the Ohtani deal, as far as it being a business deal, I mean, I think what I've heard is that the club makes like $200 million on Ohtani just from him being on the team. So, like, to bring a guy like that in, pay him $70 million a year, and make money on the side, Juan Soto's not bringing that kind of money in that Ohtani is, because he has the Japanese market. For me, for $700 million, knowing how young, how good he is, a two-way player, and his marketability, that's a guy I kind of would bring in.
Well, it'd come down to the math. I've heard that too. I don't know how much I believe. We're throwing money around again. It's and this is something like when the money gets, it's almost like the national debt. When the money reaches such an unfathomable level, we stop paying attention. So, like, I'm sure people, we make $200 million a year on Ohtani. How? Where? On what? Like, what exactly? How many billboards? Like, with that that's $200 million. Now, if that's true, fine.
Right.
I don't think so. But he is a rare player, Sean, I will say, where his branding is so international and so popular, and the guy is so productive. He's a game changer. He's a rare case. So if you want to sell me that I'm wrong, $70 million a year makes sense for Ohtani, I can believe that. But he's a rare guy.
Rare guy, yeah. But I want to stick to the Dodgers. They're the first ones to obviously move on, took care of the Reds pretty easily. Although I do think that bullpen did show its warts a little bit. That's been their Achilles heel all year long. What do you think of the Dodgers, BK, and what do you think of their next matchup against the Phillies?
I've been on them all year, as I put it, and John Heyman is cracking up because he's been on me. I'm like, they are, from the get-go, a tad disappointing. Just a tad. Like, because I haven't said, oh, they stink, they're no good. No. They are superstar heavy. I did not... I kind of liked, I'll just say it, I kind of like their aggressive spending. Like, they're playing hedge fund baseball. And they're like, hey, we could use some bullpen innings. Let's buy some. I'm down with that. Buy innings. Now, it hasn't worked out. Yates, last 2 years, has an ERA in the ones, right? Tanner Scott, previous 2 years, he's a killer. So I would have hit those guys. They bring back their own guy, Blake Trinan, who was the last man standing last year in the bullpens. So I'm down with that. But you know what? Like Joe Madden coined them. Like when they were in Japan, he goes, "They're the Beatles, man. Like they're just traveling around, and there's a circus around them." And I think you can kind of lose your way. Now that said, their guys, their rotation is low innings because they slow played it all year, and they managed because the Padres fell a little short. Giants failed. right? They should have been back. They were right on them. They couldn't take advantage. The Diamondbacks faltered, right? They had an injury with Corbin Burns that kind of took them out of the equation. So they benefited from, they still won their division, but they had to go through the wild card round. But just watching them against the Reds, it's hedge fund baseball, coastal elite against the Midwestern little sisters of the poor. I'm sorry. I know you're a Cincinnati Red, but
yeah,
come on. It was like you could see the money on the field, and it's like, wow, there's a difference. There's Ellie De La Cruz, couple of good guys here and there, and it's like against these monsters, right? Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. We've got MVPs left and right. And then in our pitching staff, we just have guys we just acquire. And, oh, yeah, Sasaki stunk all year. He's back throwing 100, closing out the game. Like, there's got guys just, like, falling out of the closets that are – because they spend, man. They spend. Look, if they pull this off, then they were right. And I think, they learned unfortunate lessons. Every year they're winning 100 – case they're averaging 104 wins a season. Averaging.
Wow.
So they're winning 111, 107, 106, and yet they're there. They get knocked off in the first round by the Phillies or whoever, or the Padres, and there's Andrew Friedman going, our guys really tried. And I'm doing those news conferences after, at the end of the season, I'm throwing to them and we're reacting. And I'm like, God, this is awful. The press is talking to them like they failed. They won 111 games. They won 106 games. And they're talking about, where does it go wrong? Where are you missing? And it's like, we're not missing anything. You play a playoff game. Again, just this year, they got swept by the Pirates. You can get in September, early September, they get swept by that, lose 5 straight to open September. Anybody can beat anybody at the Major League Baseball level. We know this. But I think they said, hey, man, why push for 105 wins? Go play it, and come October, full strength. It's kind of where they're at. The bullpen thing, they just couldn't control. You can't control everything. But I have to say, they played it kind of right. And if they end up winning, then they were right. That said, Phillies-Dodgers is even. That's big boy baseball. That's hedge fund versus hedge fund. 2 big boys going at it. And that is a vastly different animal than what they just played.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited to see that round because you're right. There's 2 powerhouses, star power, star players, big boys going toe-to-toe. And I do think navigating that Phillies lineup is going to be different than the Reds lineup, and that bullpen is going to come into play. Because you look back at last year, Doc Roberts, I think every game was a bullpen game. Even at Trinan at the end there, I'm like, this guy's running on fumes. He pitches every night.
They were so desperate last year, we kind of lose track. Landon Knack, Ryan Brazier are starting games. They're throwing bullpen games, but they were in like survival mode. They were like, hey, this is what we got. This is the best we can do. And they just kind of scrapped it together, and they've got enough superstars, and they're very baseball-y, right? They're good on the field. Tommy Edman was fantastic suddenly. Betts is in right field. I think Betts at shortstop. I don't like that still.
Yeah.
There's a few things I don't like. Ohtani, I think they stretched him out. They caught a break. He hasn't been hurt, but I'd use Ohtani. All year I've been saying, use Ohtani as an opener. He knows when he's starting. He has a very organized day. Pitch 2 innings, get out. Save. I don't want him clutching his hip.
Right.
In the LCS because he's pitching and he's hitting, and he's too important as an offensive player. He's a monster at play right now, Case. I would not jeopardize that. I'd be worried. I would, if I'm with the Dodgers, I wouldn't be sleeping well at night knowing I'm pitching this guy. I can't have him hurt. You like that? Yeah. You'd lose sleep. We would not be sleeping.
If you were the GM when I was assistant GM, we'd be talking to each other all night long. What do you think, bro? What do you think?
I'd be screaming at Dave Roberts, get him out! Get him! I was like, I think we get one. He can say he's got one more inning. No, he doesn't. Sit him down. Get his ABs. You need his ABs. Case, the thing on Ohtani, because people think I'm hating on Ohtani, I'm saying he's so good offensively. Because remember, we would have been satisfied with him slugging 500, not playing right field, and not running. Now you have a guy slugging 600 who can run. I'm protecting that. I'm not saying he can't pitch. He can pitch. I don't want to extend his innings. So in that case, again, I'll give the Dodgers credit. How many innings did he throw this year? 7. Smart. He's coming off the injury. I'd be doing that every year. 47 to 60 innings and saying, Shohei, man, get your 400 on base, get your 600 slugging, steal 30 to 40 bags. We're barely pitching.
Yeah, it is. I don't think any of us thought he would become this powerhouse hitter that he's become. So it's
Much better than we ever anticipated.
changed the narrative
Yep.
a little bit. It's changed the narrative a little bit. No
Yes.
doubt about it. I want to talk about your Yankees, BK. I know you're a lifelong Yankee fan. I got to throw it out there. You know what I mean? Yes, you. Yes, you. What do you think, man? They're coming into Game 3. A couple things here and there. I want to know what you know about what you think about Jazz Chisholm not starting Game 1. A 30-30 guy. I'm of the thought process. I'm playing my best players. If I'm going down, I don't care who you're fan, I'm playing my best players. And also in that Game 1, Max Fried. What did you think? Booney taking him out, was that the right call? And them coming back in Game 2. I want to just know what do you think of the series?
Yeah.
What do you think going into Game 3?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. One, I'm fine with Fried coming out at, was it 102 pitches?
Yeah.
I'm fine. Everyone always focuses on take the pitcher out, and then if the bullpen fails, like, what were you doing? Whereas if you leave the starter in, I always bring up examples of guys in playoffs where you go to Verlander for one more inning, you go to Luis Castillo for one more inning, and they give up the 2 or 3 runs in the 6th or 7th. You go, well, it happens. Well, you have some control over that. But if the bullpen guys lose it, then you failed. So let's just get that out of the way. And the bullpen is pretty good and pretty deep for Aaron Boone. Yeah. Jazz Chisholm. I have changed my thinking on Jazz Chisholm, and this case is, I thought his level of celebrity far exceeded his level of play. And again, I care not about your swag. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think. Can you play baseball? Can you play? Now, so Chisholm, I have to say, he's been an excellent Yankee, right? He was not a great Marlin.
Yeah.
He's been an excellent Yankee. He's done everything you've asked. He went to third, which was not his position either. And then when you got Ryan McMahon, you moved him to second. He's +5 in fielding run value at second. He runs hard. He's fast. He's a rare speed component that you haven't had in decades for the Yankees. And you saw the game in Game 2. You saw exactly right. Well, one, I ran it on MLB Now today. He's not victimized by left-handers. Against left-handers, he's above league average hitting.
Wow.
So if he's victimized by lefties, or he does not field his position, or he's stagnant on the bases, yes, you can platoon him. But that is not the case with him. And he's earned the right. He's been a part of your team. I'm with you completely. I know everyone thinks I'm about the numbers and all this. No. You become a team and a unit. You win for reasons that you might know about, things that you might not know about. And part of it is that's your team, and they go to war for you. Chisholm has gone to war for you all year. Now, he got hurt a little bit, but he plays essentially every day. He fields his position. He runs. He's not victimized by lefties. And yeah, man, don't mess with that. And in that game, he got on with a 2-out walk, and then he scored from first base on a single.
Right.
That's a player. That ball that he knocked down, he saved 2 runs, and that guy from third didn't score. Bad job by the Red Sox. I don't care what Alex Cora says. Oh, they're not down here. They don't see what we see. Come on. Jose Ramirez, if that's him, he's in the dugout sipping a Coca-Cola. By the time the camera goes to him. He's scored and he's in the dugout while your guy's on third base. So I'm saying Jazz Chisholm now can play. He can win a number of different ways. So I'm totally down with that, with what you're saying. You got to play him. You don't replace your guys. It's like Cleveland bringing in Chase DeLauder, a guy who's never played a major league game, makes his debut in a playoff game, a must-win playoff game, an elimination game. That's the most outlandish thing I've seen. And again, I'm not Mr. Clubhouse Chemistry, but the Cleveland team has shown in September, in case they won 20 out of 25. Those guys are winners. And you're saying, hey, guess what? Here's our new guy. And, you're sitting down because he's playing smack. Yeah. And Cleveland has every right to say, no, excuse me, we're in the winners bracket. We're not the Mets. We're winners. Like we win. And even on the game that we didn't have to win on the last day, we came back and won. I wouldn't mess with it. I'm astounded by that. But again, guys earn the right. And who knows, Cleveland, they can't hit. I don't know. They won 20 out of 25 down the stretch. So they can't hit, but they're winning. So I wouldn't mess with that. And yeah, Chisholm should have played. Ben Rice is tougher, but I'm with you. I can sleep at night if I go to war with my team and I lose.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too. I got my best play. I got, what was it from Hoosiers? My team's on the field. I mean, my team's my team.
He only had 4 guys. Gene
I know.
4 players.
Exactly. He played his guys. There was only 4 of them, BK. He didn't care. Okay?
Can I throw in another example? And I used it today on the show. Now, Jahmai Jones against left-handed pitching is a much better hitter than Riley Green. Riley Green is their best hitter. He's an all-star, but now A.J. Hinch took a lot of flack for that. One, Jahmai Jones is a better hitter against left-handed pitching. It's the only thing he does better than Riley Green on the field. One thing, hit left-handed pitching, but he's better at that. And two, A.J. Hinch has done that all year. So there's no like, hey, suddenly we're getting cute and we're sitting you down. It's like, no, this is the way we play. So there are times when it's like, hey, Riley Green's my all-star, but you know what? He's got to sit. It's a big spot. There's 2 on. We're tied or whatever the score was at the time. I forget now off the top of my head. But that pinch hitting spot there, that's what the Tigers do. That's how they play. It harkens back to Gil Hodges in the '69 World Series. Do you know the story?
I want to hear it.
So Gil Hodges, 1969, they played the Braves in the first round. Hank Aaron and the Braves.
Wow.
Good Hank Aaron. Aging but good. Mets, Miracle Met, like we're seen as these lovable losers, they wipe them out in the first round, and they're facing the Braves with their right-handed pitching. So they've been a platoon team all year. Gil Hodges has strict platoons. Ed Kranepool, Al Weiss, all these guys, lefties, righties, a lot of these no-names, but it works. They won 100 games. They wipe out the Braves in the first round, and the New York papers, who were powerful at the time, were all over Gil Hodges saying, you must play that team that just wiped out the Braves against the mighty Orioles. One of the greatest teams of all time, by the way, Brooks Robinson and the Orioles. The Orioles were with Cuellar and Dave McNally, 2 left-handers to start the series. Gil Hodges go, nope, here's my right-handed hitting team, who had barely played, if at all, in the LCS. And sure enough, they beat the Orioles in 5 games. It took real guts for Gil Hodges to go against, hey, these guys are hot, but you know what? No. I got a squad here that's ready to face left-handers. We've been doing this all year. That's what we're doing now in the World Series. So that can work. So I'm not down on A.J. Hinch today. It's like, no, he played the way they played all year long.
Wow, I love that. And yeah, you're right. If you've been doing it all year long, no flag goes up. But if you haven't, you go, whoa, what's that?
Yeah, don't get cute. That's a big thing, because I've seen teams get cute with openers and all sorts of things. And I'm like, if it was such a good idea to do in a playoff game, it wasn't a good idea in September or August. Like, I'd be rolling out what I really like. Hey, we have I might say to you, Case, if we're running a club, hey, on day 3, we have a top 2 pitchers, starters, but on day 3, we're tandem starting, we're using an open, everything. I'm doing it a good part of the year, and then I'm executing it in the playoffs. But I'm not doing it for the first time in a wild card series. Like, no, that's not. Don't get cute, because you will lose your guys. You guys are like, wait, we're good enough to get here, and now you're getting cute on us?
Yeah.
Don't take it out of our hands.
I love that. Yeah, you're right. That is true. The human element of, hey, dude, what are we doing? Like, we've been doing this way all year. Let's keep doing it. BK, in the Padres-Cubs series, what do you see there? And obviously you talk about bullpenning. And I'm sure you talked about it on MLB Now. That Mason Miller pitch, 104 at the knees on the black eye, almost probably one of the greatest pitches in Major League Baseball history. It just was so filthy. That bullpen looks like A.J. Preller. If they can get a lead, that bullpen could win this for them.
Oh, they're super deep and super good. And imagine what they would do if they had Jason Adam. In fact, I think like they lost that edge of they're one of the favorites. Like, I would have put the Padres kind of alongside the Phillies and the Dodgers as, hey, man, they're as good as anybody. But losing Adam was kind of, he had a 193 case with this excellent strikeout rate, low walk rate. And they're still super deep, but that was kind of a kill shot. Like, hey, in the 4th inning, we can attack you with our bullpen. The 4th. And it just wipe you out. So that losing him changed it. But, yeah, they're still formidable. And Mason Miller, I don't know if I've seen anything like it. I mean, there's been some Pedro innings, right? Randy Johnson innings, where you just see someone wipe him out. I remember Paul Skeens against the Yankees, final start of the year last year. Skeens mowed down Judge and Soto back to back. And I was like, that was not fair. Mason Miller's like that all day. Case, he went through that first inning in game 2. It took like 4 minutes. I think he hooked the first pitch. You could see him he doesn't have his rhythm. The next pitch, slider, whatever. How fast is it? Like in the 80s?
Yeah, 89. Yeah.
Drops it in. And at that point, it's like, okay, you have no shot now. Because now you know that it's coming 103 inside. Then it's drop it down a slider. 104 inside. No shot. It's the most dominant innings I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That guy. And when he took him out, Mike Schilt took him out. He's lucky. He brought in Robert Suarez for the 8th inning for that last out. If Tatis doesn't flag that ball down in the corner, that's a whole different ball game. When he took Miller out, this is how great Miller is. When he took Miller out for Suarez, who's good, he's a good closer. It was the Cubs had to say, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
It would have taken us weeks to hit that guy. It was not happening.
He was actually unhittable. It looked like unhittable stuff. It's incredible. BK, I got 5 more minutes here, and I'd be crazy not to ask you because you're obviously you're breaking down everything and locking it. I'm getting asked all the time. I'm going on different programs around the country right now. Playoff time. Who's the MVP? Is it Judge? Is it Raleigh? Hey, Raleigh's got the 60 home runs. He's a catcher. Is that enough for him to become the MVP? Can you talk to us? What does Brian Kenny think about who the MVP is? And give us a reason why where we could really go, okay, that makes a ton of sense.
I think people are thinking the right things now, right? It's not just value to the team and this and that. And Raleigh has been good all year. He has led them to a division title. He's been good all year and he's catching. They give him a lot of DH days too, but I'm not even digging him for that. It's better to have him in the lineup than having to give him days off. And catchers they need a break these days. His catching, his pitch framing, which is quite good. He holds the running game down fairly well. His defensive metrics aren't as outlandish as they were last year, but let's just call him a good fielding catcher. He's good, well above league average. Maybe not the best in baseball, but he's up there. That definitely closes the gap on the offensive advantage Judge has. But Judge has, I don't have the exact numbers. Last time I looked, Judge had in the last week 90 points in on base and 100 points in slugging. And the total bases, even with Judge getting hurt, goes in favor of Aaron Judge. The win probability added in favor of Aaron Judge. The run expectancy in favor of Aaron Judge by a decent margin. So can catching, calling a game, which you get no credit for in WAR, can that bridge that gap and make them even? Yes. Do I think he did that? No. I think Aaron Judge's gap in hitting is enough to make him my choice for MVP and Raleigh second.
Even with the 60 home runs, a switch hitting took over Mantle at 54, gets to 60. We've never seen this from a catcher. Still,
that's not what we're talking about. We're not comparing him to Mickey Cochran or Mike Piazza. We're comparing him to Aaron Judge. Now, I also read the numbers because Raleigh's a fascinating case because I kept hearing people, that's the greatest catching season of all time. It's not. That's the greatest switch hitting season of all time. It's not. Mantle has 7 better than him. It's 7 case. It's not his fault. It's Mickey Mantle. He hit 60 home runs, but all right, how many singles? How many doubles? How many triples? How many walks? He had a great year. These things can both happen at the same time. Raleigh has a historic, great year. Judge had a better year. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Okay, man, you heard it here. Everybody from BK. Man, I love the thought. I lean towards Judge too, just because I think the numbers are that good. And I looked at it this way too, BK. I said when I was playing, and obviously whatever it was, what it was. But if you had a historical year, Barry Bonds was playing, so he was that much better. When you're talking about in the American League, when guys were having big years, Shohei Ohtani existed, so you're not winning the MVP. I feel that way about Judge. I think we're looking at a generational player, a guy that's doing things that we've never seen. He's going to win a batting title hitting over 50 home runs. Jimmy Fox and Mickey Mantle, the only two to ever do that. I really believe we're looking at a generational player. So I think Cal Raleigh had an incredible year. I'm not saying that, but I am saying Aaron Judge is still the best, most valuable player in the American League, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not. By the way, he's not an immobile defender. He's a good defender. He's not a plus base runner anymore, but we know he's decent enough. He runs a bit. He doesn't clog things up. Again, being a good defender, and his hitting is just way above everybody else. I'm losing my mind over how good Shohei Ohtani is. Judge is clearly a better hitter than Ohtani. If anyone is not looking at the numbers, they should know. No, it's Judge, then we drop, and then it's Ohtani, and then everybody else. Raleigh's home runs were, 60 gets your attention, no question. 60 is a big, big number. But look, what is he actually slugging? How much is he changing run scoring? How much is he changing win probability? And he was super clutch for a good part of the year. It's not like he wasn't clutch. He was. Judge's overwhelming hitting. And he had did he finish with 54 home runs? I mean, not like he's got 10.
He's right behind him.
The other guy's got 54. We're not talking about a huge gap here. And Judge adjusted his game this year to become more slug-proof, and he's proven it in the postseason. Hit singles. Hey, don't be there, big swing and miss. Oh, they're befuddling me. smack the ball, get on base. He's doing that now. It shows a real progression in his mindset.
It does, man. It really does. Well, BK, man, I cannot thank you enough for joining us to talk some little playoff baseball. These playoffs are going to be incredible. You can see it already lining up, and we'll be tuning in to MLB Now. I think I'll hopefully be. Are you going to be on in October?
Yeah, we're on throughout
Okay.
on MLB Now, throughout now, and also then we're on site at the World Series for every game.
Oh,
So
great.
we'll be there breaking it, tactics and strategy and baseballiness. Like
Love it.
execution fundamentals. Like come to the fore, you give up a run, you lose 4-3.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like all those small old school things, they matter a ton.
Love that, BK, how you've started to bring in that baseball-y talk into MLB Now these last couple of years. I think it's incredible because you're right. Those small things that maybe we're not paying attention to, you're saying, no, these are winning and losing games. Actually, how you run the bases, how you hit a cutoff man, how you take an extra base, how you take, run into an out. I mean, all this stuff matters, especially at this time of year. These baseball-y plays you've been talking about all season, now they're really matter.
Now it matters. Like two examples. One, Tatis in the first inning steals third, right? Scores on a sac fly. If he's standing on second, they don't get that run. And then maybe that Machado home run happens or it doesn't. But that's the ball game. I mean, otherwise, 0-0 extra innings very easily. And then, you know what? Like, I was trying to think of why is Cleveland winning? You know what they do? They throw. Their relays, I think you've been on the show. Their relays are superior. Gabriel Arias, I don't care what he hits. He's playing. He throws guys out. They are number one in baseball in fielding run value, in fielding arm run value. So just arms. They throw guys out. Again, that's not like, we talk about, there's sabermetric and analytics things, and then there's the little things. That's not a little thing. That's a base. That's an out at home plate. That's not small. That's big. We don't have ways of quantifying that into some war equation at this point, but we know it's important. And right, that's what I stress. Like the last 2-3 years, we've been doing baseball-y plays. We started as a little segment, and now after a while, I realized we need to do this every day.
Yeah.
Every day, small things, guys. Taking an extra base, guys stealing a base in a big spot. Jazz Chisholm walking with 2 outs, scoring for first on a single. That's not small.
Yeah.
Today we know. Like the day after, we realized how huge that is. It's that huge every single day.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, dude, we'll all be tuning in to MLB Now. I'm sure I'll be joining you at some point. I love coming on the show with you, man, in October. Yes. Nobody better than to break down baseball, and then Brian Kenny and that show and the cast of characters when Johnny Heyman's to your right. There's nobody better. It's a ton of fun. Thanks, BK. I'll see you soon, brother. Thanks a ton for your time, man.
Case, I enjoyed it. Always good talking with you, my friend. Thank you.
You're the best, brother. Thank you.